one.
Okay, Cindy, you're on.
Oh, all right. I'll set space. You just have everyone close their eyes and breathe at a rate and at a pace that offers you comfort. Feel yourself anchoring into your body, calling your energy back from where it's been spent, calling it back to you and bringing it back inside. Giving it a minute to get recalibrated. Continuing to breathe at a comfortable pace. Now scanning your body for any tension, any place where you might be experiencing discomfort. And focus on that area and expand it out beyond the blockage that's causing tension. Just sharing your molecules with the air around it so any tension can leave. Traveling through your body, finding any other spots where tension remains, focusing on it, and expanding those cells out so the blockage dissipates. One final scan, finding any other place that might be of tension or discomfort, focusing on it, expanding your cells out, removing all blockage. Pulling yourself back together, scanning up and down your spine, up and down, up and down, up and down. Feel the tickling and the sensation that it offers when we move our energy freely throughout our body. Up and down. And with that, we take one more breath in and exhale it fully. Now that we're awake, now that we're energetically pulled back together, now that our tension has been released, we can come back into this space with each other, opening our eyes when we're ready. And so it is.
Thanks, Cinda.
Mm-hmm.
It's great to have somebody else's voice kind of doing that space setting. So let's presence ourselves into the circle, and name where you're at. And then we'll go around the next time to kind of check in as to what's going on for you. Let's do that as a second round, okay? So let's just first presence ourselves into that circle that Cinda just set. And we'll go around by tagging each other. So Sheila, I'm going to start with you. And who are you, where you're at?
Okay, I'm Sheila, and I'm near Moscow, Idaho. And it's a beautiful fall here, early but beautiful. And I'll now text Susan.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Susan. I am here in the stormy Midwest in Byron, Illinois. And I will tag Margie.
And I'm Margie. and I'm here in sunny, hot Sandy, Utah. And I take Abby.
Thank you, Margie. I'm here in Anacortes, Washington, and it's beautiful. And I will tag Sharon.
So this is Sharon Raji, and I'm here on Whidbey Island in the state of Washington. And it was cool this morning and the sun's coming out. It's beautiful so far today. So here we are as those who love crystals, those who love our earth, those who love those on the earth, all beings. And we've been doing crystal broadcasting, I think, for about 2 years now. I don't remember for sure, but it's been about 2 years. And I think the work that has been done by this group, and as a representative of the bigger network that's doing these broadcasting, is really a very powerful part of helping our world move to some different place energetically that's going to be good and better. And there's a lot of rocking and rolling, a lot of changes of energy that we know, some we don't know, pieces we know, we don't know the whole picture, but definitely energy feels very different than when we started 2 years ago. Energy feels very different than we were when we started into this COVID state. So for me, it's really been an opportunity to say, here's who I was and how I presented then, even in, March, April, thought I was going to go this way. And here I am today, changed in some form, but not me so much changed as out there in the world changed. And what does that mean for me interacting in that world? And as you well know, Susan has been kind of that co-pilot with me for maybe about a year. And one of the changes we're making is that she is going to be more like the pilot, and I'm going to be the co-pilot. And we're, putting together a team that's going to be a little bit different, more with her as the lead. And it might take a little while for us to understand what that means or how it's coming into play, but definitely Susan's going to be the point as we go forward. I think there's a lot of things that are going to come through her leadership that wouldn't come through my leadership. And that's why, sometimes we need to kind of shift. So that's going to be happening, and just a little heads up there. And the other thing that it occurs to me as I'm working and understanding about holding steady, holding steady, some of the groups holding steady, the guardian circles holding steady, the time travelers holding steady but disconnecting. I think this group is a group that will be, and I'm just putting this out there because it just appears as a possibility that this is the group that's going to be dancing and singing and beckoning. This is the way, come with us. There's just a different energy, and it's very solid, but it's also really like, hey, come on, it's like almost like being on the other side of what we're still experiencing here. So it's kind of a refreshing for me in this moment to go like, oh yeah, this is what this energy is about. So I'm just going to put that out there, and then open up the field of what's happening in your life. What do you want to put into the circle? Because we want to know each other, and we can know each other by what's on your heart and what's in your life. And we'll just go around the circle again. We might go in the same direction. I think I will start with Sheila, and if somebody who was there after Sheila, you can go around in the same fashion, or if we get stuck, we'll do another tag. So Sheila, don't forget to unmute yourself. Oh, you're still muted. Sometimes it's an easy task and sometimes it's not. Okay, you keep figuring it out, Sheila, and we're going to go over to Margie.
I'll see if I can do better. Does everybody hear me?
We can.
It's busy in my world. By all means, there's a lot of change going on. I don't think anybody on the planet is free from a lot of change happening right now. I relate to holding center, holding space while a lot of this change is happening. I've been really spending a lot of time in my meditation practice, and even as I work with my few clients, which I don't have nearly as many these days, but about imbuing those energies of Grace, Sophia, Gaia at their highest vibration, and being aware of that shift of consciousness, even for me, that allows me to view divinity as grace of the divine. I really did love giving that a different definition. It's really useful. I've also been calling on what I guess I would call legions of light to go to some very specific places that come into my awareness that need that kind of uplifting and that kind of energetic empowerment. And I think we have to be the ones to direct. And so I think it's part of feeling like I have purpose in this process while I'm puttering around in my own world to be able to help the world in some way. So I would like to offer into the group empowered compassion today. And Evie, you're up.
Thank you. I love empowered compassion. One of the words I think Sharon used when we started was anchor. And I've often felt like I've been an anchor for those in my community. But I would say probably since I was last on the call, I'm having to work to anchor myself again too. And it's the sister support that is really helping me to feel more anchored. Because whatever it is, I recognize that sometimes the unanchoring is energy, the overall, the bigger energy, and sometimes it's my own mind patterns, which I'm still, which I'm always working with. So that seems to be a very diligent process for me. And I'm probably, besides my anchoring sisters, I'm most helped by being in the trees and being in the woods. And I'm very grateful that I have that opportunity to do that so easily. What I'd like to bring into the circle is continuing to rediscover joy. Thank you. And I will tag Cinda.
Oh, see, what's new? What's new? What's new? What's new? Well, what I want to bring into this group is rest. Just rest. I think the reason why I can't think of anything is because I'm like, I hope I can go into meditation today without falling asleep. So rest, well rested, is what I am bringing into the circle. And so Sheila, do you think you can unmute? Have you figured it out? Let's try it again. Try to unmute. Why can't she?
I lost.
Oh, yay, there you go.
Well, I made my way out of Zoom and then I had to get my way back. I could not bring it back. So sorry about that, guys.
Well, we kept seeing you. We can still see you.
Okay, well, it was blank, and I was going, oh, where do I go now? Okay, what I'm going to bring to the circle is enthusiasm and excitement. I love this group because whenever I plug in, and now the minute we started doing the anchoring or the focusing, I went straight to the cavern that's real bright white, and it's full of huge crystals, but the being was there again. And I'm just, my children are coming this weekend with my grandchildren, and I'm just over the moon excited to see my family, my babies. So I don't know. I'm just gonna hold that because I'm loving life, and I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm loving it. So, and thank you all, because I love being part of this. And Susan, have you? I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you, Sheila. It was a really stormy day here. We had 100-mile-an-hour winds and the tornado sirens going off, and crazy, crazy weather. But the comical part of it was we have a group, a Byron group, and one of the parents had posted that they had a picture of somebody's trampoline in their yard that took out their swing set. And then another posting on a different Byron site that said, hey, if you see my trampoline, it's missing. So it was quite a powerful storm. We have thousands and thousands of people without power. So I am grateful that the big part missed us. We have power. We lost it for just a little bit, and we just have some leaves. I knew it was going to be a crazy day. On my walk this morning, it was all misty. It was really very cool. It just this soft mist out on my walk as the sun was trying to break through. So I knew it was going to be a powerful day. I just didn't think Gaia would step into that much power. They had recorded like 100-mile-an-hour winds just west of here. So grateful to be there. The word that came in was ever-changing matrix for me. Because as Sharon talked about, things are changing so fast that, each day is a new day, and that truly takes on a new meaning, a new vibration. We talk about changing our words, and especially those words that we overuse all the time. So bringing new life to those words, and knowing truly that each day it truly is a new day. And I'm very excited and very honored to be able to be making this shift with Sharon over to taking a little more responsibility with the Crystal Broadcaster Group. The immediate panic hit when she told me what we were doing. But there will always be the ever integrating and co-weaving of direction and wisdom, and the great wings that will support all of us as we move through these ever-changing times. So I'm grateful that you are all here, and for your support, and please let me know if there's any direction or support that I can offer as we are moving forward. So I am complete.
Thanks, Susan. I hope I didn't tell you. I hope I invited you to the possibility, but I may have told you. I might have suggested. Yeah. And
Invitation came later.
yeah. and in that, the other part of that invitation is as things start bubbling up within any of you, and you don't know what it means or where to go with it, ideas, etc., please know that any of us here in this circle, and this communities even beyond this, you can put it out there and say, I don't know what this means, and because you might be being called to something that's not even formed yet, or something that's beginning to form that you don't know of yet, and the way the way that the community grows when it's collaborative is like, here's possibilities, but then we don't know all the possibilities. This community field knows possibilities. So if all of a sudden you go like, whoa, this is something exciting, I don't know where it fits, but it would be exciting, share your idea. And going back to Cinda, you know, I've said we are on a marathon. This has been a marathon for the last 600,000 years. This has been a marathon, and it isn't a sprint, and we are a relay team. And sometimes there's some of us that are moving ahead with the baton, and others of us who are resting on the side waiting for the baton, and some who's already ran the baton and they need a drink of water and sit in a chair, and all of us are still on the same team. So wherever you feel to be is exactly perfect for it all. And I don't know, for those of you who may not have been on the, I think it was on the call last week, at least one of the calls of the community, where the thought was, let's start taking back our world. I mean, our words. The words, one of the big words out there in the world today is God. And this God is defined by somebody who is, you're with us or against us. You know, it's and it's just a definition. It's not truth. It's just a definition. But if we take back, say, okay, that word, whenever it's spoken or thought, it means grace of the divine. So we're calling on grace of the divine. It's like letting the word just go out there, and no one else has to know or agree with it. But those who hold and know how to work with energy will determine the outcome. And so instead of calling in that either or, black, white, with us or against it, dominate, agree energy, every time that word's spoken or written or thought about, we claim it as ours. And our definition is grace of the divine. So that's where that comes from, just to kind of give everybody up to speed. And the videos from all of the three circles, Time Traveler, Galactic, and Crystal Broadcaster, are all on their separate YouTube channels. And every video, wherever you listen to any of the video, will have links to the other channel. So we're beginning to cross-pollinate and share in that way through YouTube. So the other thing we did, I might start doing it again, is that when we came back with a sense of the future, and some of you were on the calls when we did that, we traveled literally traveled into the future to say, what is it? And look at it and feel it and speak of it, and then bring that back with a symbol. You remember that? And we programmed that symbol into a crystal, and spoke it. And so then what I did is I took those snippets of whatever that a particular future looked, and made it into a little video. So we have 4 of those on the YouTube channel. And so I'm going to be watching for those too, because I think they're very powerful little 2 or 3 minute visions of somebody visiting the future. And this is what it looks like. And this is how people are interacting, etc. So we'll see how that goes. And we've made the commitment to be here under the guidance of the Crystalline Kingdom. So we're all here to be guided, not just with our spiritual teams that we're used to having, but also that additional team, and where they might know that is best for us to be. And the Crystalline Kingdom is putting in totally new ley lines around the planet, and that came from us, but it also was validated without me saying anything, was validated by another woman who studies and watches and works with the ley lines. And it was like 10 days ago, she said, the ley lines are changing. They are changing. They're not where they used to be. And they are all now crystalline, clear crystalline energy. So there's a lot of possibilities that could come with our little travels today, and we're going to use them in any way possible to keep that energy of not just hope, but lightness and dancing the future today. Anything else you want to say before we do our travel? Okay, Cinda set the space. We're in sacred ground. Guardian circles around us always, and right here for sure. And I've made the energy of my guardian circle, because it was initially created so that energy of outsiders that would be attacking and slowing down or preventing light from expanding, that attack energy, I've got it like a mile out. And any energy that comes, that's coming toward me and anyone I'm working with, it's not a mile out. It's not like a few feet. So you might want to consider that too. It's like, we don't have to wait for them to get that close. Okay, so here we go. So let your breath focus yourself right into this physical body with absolute voice, discernment, holding that design of good. The authority to manifest and preserve that good is with you. Call to ourselves, our team, whatever is the most powerful configuration of those spiritual beings for this work, for this moment in time. Working with that energies of the crystalline kingdom, and any that we aren't yet aware of that are still important and aligned and ready to work with us. Call them to us, give them permission to be in our space in a harmonious manner to those we've worked with before. And we turn ourselves over to letting go and moving into that path, that love, the future, knowing that we will be moved to the most perfect place for today. Let yourself move down that path, secured, noticing who's with you, the feelings they bring for you, energy and nurturance, taking to you the most important place for you to be now, to see, to experience, to be given codes, symbols, whatever is most important for you to bring back. You will be doing that under the guidance of this team. So travel safely, and we'll see you on the other side of this journey. Okay, so let's share our journey. Abby, let's start with you this time.
I guess I must have listened to Cinda because I was just in a very restful space. So that was very delicious to be in that place with the rest of your energy surrounding me. So, thank you. And I'll pass the baton to Susan.
I was taken into the void, and I thought, the same thing. I just kept hanging out. I thought, well, we're just going to meditate here and hang out for a while. But then I kept hearing the words Gaia, Sophia, and Grace. And you could see the interweaving of their three energies into this beautiful light. I was sitting on this crystalline cloud, and just kept hearing Gaia, Sophia, and Grace, and watching this weaving of their energies together. And then I saw a picture of the earth in the core, the crystalline, the heart of the core of Gaia. And as we said those words, and it was like this chant throughout the cosmos, Gaia, Sophia, Grace, the center of the earth would get bigger. The light would start to expand and expand and expand. And then I heard the words, "It's time to be the beacon." And as the words Gaia, Sophia, and Grace, the light got brighter. This connection from where I was in the void to the heart of the earth kept getting stronger and more vibrant. And then they said it was through the words, the shifting, the vibration, the actual shifting through voice and sound now, through those three words, as they were interweaving their energies. It was through word and sound and vibration. And then all of a sudden, it was the beams, the beacons of light from all the star systems were beckoning into the heart of Gaia. And just the energy just kept moving and moving and moving. It just kept beaming and getting brighter. And it was almost blinding up in the cosmos, because it was just completely lit up. And all you could hear was this chanting, and it was from all star systems, Gaia, Sophia, and Grace, as they were weaving into the matrix. So I am complete. And let's go, Margie.
I had an experience a few years ago now where I was in a deep meditative state, and my body was taken over, and words were coming, but I wasn't forming them. And the energy that had entered was profoundly humbling. In fact, so much so that I remember I cried for about 2 or 3 days. I couldn't stop crying at the humility that it brought, and the sense of reverence. And I couldn't string sentences together well for 2-3 weeks after. We don't, it seems like, get those moments of Satori often, but we get them often enough to understand that they have meaning. And so when I went into meditation, I had that thought, okay, where are we going? What are we going to be doing? And then I saw Sophia. I said that wrong. I saw Grace, and the energy of her reminded me of the energy that I'd felt before. And it's humbling. I didn't even know if I wanted to speak of it, because it's humbling. And so rather than say, where are we going? She said, although of course no words, she said, sit and be still and put me on. First, you should wear me like a coat, and then you will become me. I could feel the power of that vibration. It's very powerful and very humbling all at the same time, but I also could feel the energetic raising of vibration the longer I sat wearing the coat of Grace. And I also saw, when I looked beyond my own immediate area, I could see, I think what Susan spoke about points of light lighting up in a grid almost over the entire planet. And that points of light are coming online, is what she said, and that we are to be connected to them. we never need to feel like we're doing this work alone. Even if we can't see who else is doing the work, we can feel the vibration of connection to each one of them that are holding the energy. Then I could look further and see this really large power grid that was fed by the connection between us, but also from Earth herself and from spirit above. So it was across all planes. There was this energy that was feeding into this grace, this energy of grace that was coming online across the entire planet. And she reminded me that it's not about doing, it's about being, and how much we are to become her. Cinda, I think I'll pass over to you.
Oh, that's so beautiful, Margie. So, you know, when Grace first visited me, she just swung her arm, and trailing behind her was this opalescent, what looked like a blanket, you know. So for you to be wrapped in that coat of, oh, it's just, oh, how lovely, how lovely. Such beautiful validation. Yeah, so I was sort of sitting there with Evie. I think my head might have been on your lap because I was just so tired. And then I kept hearing these kids in my meditation. There was just these kids, and I'm like, oh, why are these kids being so noisy? And I went and I saw that there was this playground, and there was just all these children, and they were screaming and yelling, and they were so loud, and they were like fighting. I mean, they weren't physically fighting, they were just yelling and screaming. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? What timeline are we? And it looked like a modern day, everyday playground, but all these kids. And then there was these barking and hissing, and I looked over there, and there was these, in everyone's yard, there was cats and dogs that were barking and hissing at each other. I mean, and chasing, but I mean, it wasn't violent, it was just loud. And then I look over there, and there's this jungle. It's really thick, gorgeous jungle, and there's monkeys and big cats, and I mean, they're just so loud. The jungle is so alive, and I'm like, what? So why are you showing me this? Why all this commotion? And is it now or in the future? What is this? And why are they all fighting? For some reason, I thought they were fighting. And then all of a sudden, there was this, I don't know, guys, this is just so weird. It's not normal for me. This spaceship, this like opalescent spaceship came over and just hovered over the playground, and all the kids went, oh, okay. And I realized it was the mothership. And the mothership just hovered, and the kids went, oh, like they were busted. And then it went over the yards, and the dogs and cat went, okay. And then it went over the jungles, and everything calmed down, and then it flew off again. And I went, oh, that was the mothership. And the mothership was, come on, guys, just knock it off. So I guess my takeaway when I was like, okay, what's happening, is I think it was a glimpse into the future, and not actually too far out into the future, but that kids are still going to be kids, and dogs and cats are still going to be dogs and cats, but the jungles, that they were lush, and they were growing, and they were back, and they were filled with noisy wildlife, and you know, the kids weren't scarred. They were still fighting amongst each other and playing games, and the dogs and cats were just as exactly what they are now. And the world was clear and beautiful, and that there was just this mothership that was making sure everything was okay. And it wasn't controlling, there was no mind warp, it was just hovering like a mother that would peek into the room, and all the kids would behave. You know, it would just hover, and then it would just go into the other ones. It was like just a reminder of, I don't know, it was just, but for me to think of spaceships, it's not my usual. So that was funny. Anyway, Sheila.
My unmute going. Okay. Well, Cinda, I'm right there with you. I so rarely travel, but as soon as we decided it was time to travel, I looked down and I was on an asphalt road surrounded by a jazz band, and they were playing When the Saints Come Marching Home. And I just was dancing along and walking along with them and having that, definitely in New Orleans during the Mardi Gras. And it was like, oh my gosh, but it's just the energy I'm in right now. So, but it was a good space. I enjoyed it. I still am. Okay, Sharon.
It's interesting how the information comes in different forms, isn't it? Okay, so I immediately started seeing the children too, and the trees were singing songs to them, and the flowers were singing songs to them, and the plants were singing songs to them. They were all saying, time to go home, time to come in, you know. And immediately, like, I remembered my childhood where the trees didn't do that for me, but we knew when it was time to go home. And we'd be playing and get just about dusk, time to go home, and we would go home. And it was that kind of a feeling that the kids had been out, they'd been playing hard, and it was like the games were over, they were left behind, whatever the games had been, you know, sheepy lie low and kick the can and all those kinds of things. And it was now all the children were going home, and I wanted to feel what that was like. And so they just reminded me through my childhood what it was like to eat a warm peach off of the tree. What was that like? Oh, and I love peaches. And what was it like when my mother, of course, we dried all of the clothes outside. In Utah, even the freezing, you put them outside because they would dry. They'd be frozen, but they'd be dry. One of my favorite things was to be able to go in on my mom's bed, and I was in charge of getting my little brother down for a nap, and we would go under the warm blankets that were still all those warm clothes that were warmed by the sun, and you could smell them. It was remembered that feeling and what it was like to be in. As I grew up, very fortunate, there was just a love there and an acceptance there and a respect there. It was so coming home meant all of that. And so I said, you know, what can I bring back? Because I wanted a symbol. So they said rose quartz. So they brought, here's the rose quartz. And it was like, but it's pretty hard. And they said, no, it can also be liquid. It could be liquidy. You could feel it. You could smell it. It can take any shape you want it to take, that it needs to take. But that's a reminder of this future place. And what was interesting when you talked about the mothership, Cinda, there's a group that calls themselves the Mothership Alliance that feels like they've been called by the mothership to activate the mothership. And they're part, and a lot of the things they are being shown fit perfectly with what we're being shown. This last week, the Mothership Alliance gathered, and all weekend, they did those kind of prayers, basically to say, calm down, everybody, calm down, everybody. So when you said mothership was hovering, they were all weekend, they were hovering all over the planet. So there we go. Wonderful. Really, really wonderful. So is there anything else you want to say? And you know, there's common threads. Usually in all the circles, there's some common threads that are there. Even if it's just like breathing, I'm breathing it in. You know, I'm being the one just breathing it in, holding it. So I'm going to just open up to anybody who wants to say anything that's come up for you before we close the circle. Does that mean you want space, Cinda?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. No. Sorry. I was just unmuted because I don't know why.
He was ready to say hello and love you, right? You were going next phase. Okay, so now we can all open up and just be in love and hug and social distance connection with one another. Let it take it in whatever way gets you through the week is wonderful. And we'll meet again next Monday. Love you guys.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. We're going home. Home's
Yeah.
coming here, maybe. Home's coming here. Okay, bye.